guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of The Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys swinging by to check today's video out and spend some time with me. And guys, today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite sort of like, I think it's sort of a secret deal, technique for catching bass in the month of October, November, and December, and that is using a little 1/4 ounce old school rattle trap. Just the cheap little rattle trap, guys, that's been around forever. And this is a deal, man. When you get the right situations, and I'm gonna lay out exactly what the right scenarios for it, you can catch a ton of fish on it. You can catch 20, 30, 40 bass a day, specifically in November and December with this technique. So we're gonna get into that in today's video. And also, guys, I'll link this bait in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to pick up one. And we're talking about any gold color. This is gold with black back here, but the ones you want to order is any type of a gold pattern. There's something about gold this time of year. It works really good. So I'll put that link in the description of the video there. And also, guys, real quick, anybody interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, just go to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler, and shoot me a private message. I do most of my lessons here in Missouri on Table Rock or Stockton Lake, and we can go over any technique you want to learn more about on the water, 7 or 8 hours on the water in one day. So I appreciate you guys checking that out. Okay, guys, this is a technique that I figured out myself back in 1990 on Lake Martin in Alabama. Now, we had just had a tournament down there the year before, and actually it was a Bassmaster Top 150, and I led it for the first 2 days of the tournament, and then my area got flooded out. So that was one situation. We went back there the next year, and the water was quite a bit lower than it was the year before when I did really good in the tournament. And what happened in this particular tournament is I was catching them pretty good, fishing like, slow rolling spinnerbait and flipping jig and lay down trees and some of the creek arms there. And, working pretty good, decent. We had some, pretty stable weather conditions. The weather was probably, in the 60s or something like that, south wind, sort of a prefrontal deal. And I was getting, probably 12 or 15 bites a day, catching a few shallow cranking. I was pretty confident that everything was going to work out. The first day of the tournament rolls through there, and we had one of those bad fall time fronts come in. One of those fronts where the air temperature plummeted. The air temperature probably dropped 25 degrees. The wind switched out of the north. It was blowing out of the north about 25 miles an hour. Bluebird sky, cold, super windy. And I went out there and I started flipping and throwing my spinnerbait around the laydowns and throwing a crankbait, and I couldn't catch anything. I mean, it was just like nothing was going on. So I'm like, I didn't have a fish. Like it was almost noon or something. I didn't have a fish. And for whatever reason, I just said, I'm just going to go fishing. I'm going to start practicing. And I got on this technique a little bit at Grand Lake in Oklahoma a little bit earlier. And I said, I'm going to try this little rattle trap because I've caught some at Grand Lake, when the fishing's pretty tough before on it. I think flies in here does. So I took this little 1/4 ounce rattle trap right here, gold rattle trap, and I started fishing some rocky banks and little secondary points in that same creek that I was, fishing the laydowns in. And guys, in about the first hour I started fishing, I caught probably 15 keepers. Caught an easy limit of fish. Wound up catching limits the next 2 days of the tournament, all on the little 1/4 ounce rattle trap. Had a decent tournament in that event. And I've been able to use it very similar in the same situation. So I want to sort of lay out what you want to do or how you want to fish it and what you want to look for. First of all, you got to have the right setup, you got to have the right water clarity, and you got to have the right cover. Now, there's two different scenarios I've caught them in. One of them, I caught them in a Bassmaster Megabucks tournament down at Lake Gunnersville in November on the same little 1/4 ounce rattle trap, fishing it over shallow milfoil and hydrilla. That's one way that it works. You can catch them over shallow grass, a little 1/4 ounce rattle trap, in October, November, and December. That's one thing, but the technique that I like to use more than anything else that applies to more water in the country is fishing flat points that have a lot of wind on it. And you have to have the right water visibility. You have to have water visibility between 1 to 2 feet. Anywhere between, say, 12 to 20 inches is perfect with that. You need to have a hard wind coming in on the rocky bank, and even the flatter points are better. In any type of a flat rocky point, say for example, if your boat is in maybe 5 to 10 foot of water and you're a cast away from the point. Sorry, if you make just an average length cast to the point, your boat's in 5 to 10 feet of water, that type of a flat slope, and just sort of slow roll it. Just throw it out there and just sort of, just crank it sort of with a medium retrieve, maybe pump it a little bit like that. And those fish will stack up on those flat points and those flat banks when you have a hard wind hitting it, as long as the water temperatures are like between, say, anywhere between low 50s to low 60s. That's the window. So that's what you have to have. Water visibility 1 to 2 feet, water temperature low 50s to low 60s. Got to have some wind coming in on it. It helps if these areas are positioned in creek arms. There seems like there's a lot more fish in those particular areas. And most of the time, guys, I'll throw it on 12-pound test, Seaguar Invisex fluorocarbon line, some type of a 7-foot medium action rod. And the 1/4 ounce is the key. Rattletraps come in a lot of different sizes, 1/2 ounce, 3/4, but this little 1/4 ounce is the one that you want. And I've experimented with different colors too. And by far, any type of a gold is the best color for that. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to clue you in on that. A lot of people probably have never tried that technique. It's a really good way to catch a limit if the fishing condition's tough, if you have those tough days where it's, hard to get a bite, it's windy, it's bright, and it just appeals to a certain personality of fish. It's been one of my most consistent producers in the fall time of the year once I get that type of condition in the water. And another thing, guys, one other thing that I'll tell you about this little 1/4 ounce rattle trap is if you have water temperatures, again, in the mid 50s to mid 60s, and you have floating boat docks, try taking this little 1/4 ounce rattle trap and reeling it along the fronts and the edges of a boat dock. They'll come out and hammer this little thing. Make sure you get it real close to the dock. You don't want to get it that far. You got to get it close to that dock, just underneath the floats, and those fish will come out and hammer this little thing next to the boat dock. So anyway, I hope it helps you guys catch some good fish, and we'll talk later.